What's up, guys and gals? And it's time for the latest chapter of Kengan Omega. Kengan Omega, chapter 250. And it was gonna be a reaction, but as many of you know, reading the chapter was complicated yesterday. We'll say that. It was complicated. It was a wee bit difficult, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. So anyways, by the time I actually got a chance with a non-broken link without the 505 error message and stuff like that, and I eventually got to read the chapter on not Komaki, I definitely, by that time it was too late to do the review and stuff like that. And I will say, I'm glad I didn't, because I'm sure people are going to troll this chapter. I'm sure it's a dumb reason, by the way, too. I actually, once again, stayed off the comments. Even throughout waiting a whole extra day and stuff, I stayed out of the comments. Stayed 100% away from them. Except for one thing. I saw it when I was going through my Reddit app today, and someone showed a theory saying, it's not bullshit or something like that, right? I said, okay, so I had already read the chapter, so I opened it. And this is going to be really cool, guys. This is actually kind of cool. The whole thing that Shen explained was already, this is already foreshadowed or connected in some way to what Oma did back in the cat. In the Kengan Annihilation Tournament, he did this. A memory he had no memory of. Like, almost like muscle memory. It's born into his DNA. He took a stance, and it's so similar, and he adjusts his fist and his feet slightly and everything like that. Everything Shen told Oma to do in this chapter, and he immediately got it. And even Shen was like, "Oh yeah, that's a lot." He paused and he went, "That's looking a lot better," like right away. And then he said, "All right, do it again." And it's like, boom, all right. And his Iron Breaker was nuts. Almost Iron Breaker in this. So, really quick, because other than that, there's not a huge amount to say. Other than I really like the direction. I like the direction Omega's going right now, with Shen basically being like, I'm not the bad guy here. Like, Luahan is the bad guy. Like, they're like, yeah, we got this evil vibe. He goes, right? Me too. Like, they're painting me, and he even straight up says like, they're painting me as a monster, but if you ask me, he's the real monster. He's like, yeah, I mean, like, there are a lot of people who treat me like a monster, who act like I'm this big monster. He goes, but if you ask me, Lu Han's the monster. He's the one who wants to kill people. He wants to stab. He wants my memories and stuff like that. But he also acknowledges, once again, which is what I was trying to say many chapters ago, or only a few chapters ago, right after when Lu Han went to Tiger Nico and basically said, hey, his memories are the whole reason he's that strong. Shen confirms what I was trying to say. And I may or may not, I might not have been articulate enough or gotten my point across in the best way, and that's on me for not, like, all right, how do I want to say this, how do I want to get my point across and stuff like that. I wasn't able to get that across, right? But what Shen is basically saying is that all my Hoisang and all my memories and stuff, that's not what makes me up here. And that's all I was trying to say, is that there's more to it, whether you call it principles or there's an X factor or whatever. Just having the memories and a trained yoga body isn't enough. It just isn't. And Shen confirmed it right here. So I was right. I might not have said it in the best way when I said it's not experience, it's not memories. That doesn't mean anything when it comes to this. I was wrong the way I put it, but I was right in the theory at its core. Right? So I'm still patting myself on the back for that one, guys. I really am. And God, do I need it, because look at these bowed shoulders, you know? I've been working out a lot more lately and stuff like that, but, you know, still got terrible posture. But, yeah, so I like this chapter on a number of levels. Like, immediately they just dive into some of the real things, right? They're like, okay, Oma and Ryuki, they don't freak out. They're like, oh man, what is going on here? And I love the fact that Kaede, between 249 and 250, has already caught up everyone on, it's like, and that's basically how we ended up here. It's like, all right, I got it. So we don't have to waste any time like, what are you doing here? And all that stuff, right? We can get full-on panels. Ryuki immediately basically says, you murdered Gao Mukaku, my grandfather. And Shen immediately says, yep. And you have every right to want revenge on me, because I did it. And he said, so, do you want to go? Do you want to fight me right now? Do you want to try to kill me? You know, Shen is immediately like, yes, I did do that. He doesn't say I'm sorry about that, but because he's not sorry, the guy was planning on trying to kill him or what have you, and did the best to do so. Ryuki immediately says no, and he says, I know the reason, you know, Granddad was after, and the good thing is that they sort of had the conversation previously, so we don't need to get into the whole semantics, but I'm assuming they brought up the idea that Shen has basically, all the dialogue has been transmitted or told to Ryuki and Oma to say, hey, he even said, like, I don't actually kill it. I don't murder people. I go after people who are planning to kill me, or I kill people who are trying to actively kill me, but I've never went out of my way to go kill someone who did nothing wrong to me. You know, I'm proactive on getting them before they get me attitude, but outside of that, I'm good. I'm gravy, right? So, and Ryuki basically brings this up and says, yeah, you know, that's the deal. He says, like, and Ryuki says, to be honest, it sounds like you didn't have much of a choice and he brought it upon himself. I mean, you knew about this for like decades and he never let it go. I mean, he even took me, your clone, and made me an enemy of the worm, which sort of works for you and stuff. So you've got every reason to be mad at him and stuff. And he goes, and Ryuki's honest here, and this is what I love about Ryuki's response, but Shen's response. So Ryuki has actually grown, because I used to hate his ass, and he's actually grown to a level where he's acceptable to me. Because I thought he was really regressing in that Berserker Bowl or whatever. I thought he really regressed, and I was like, oh my god, are we doing this again? This is like the third time we've done the emotionless, I don't understand society, assassin Ryuki. But finally, no, it finally clicked this time, so hopefully that stays that way. But I like that he's like, I get that he was a scumbag and he was an asshole, but he was still my grandfather. In the same way that I'm sure if you asked the real Nico, what did you think of Mukaku? He probably would have said, I had a lot of fond memories with my brothers, with my, with my sensei and all that stuff. I'm sure, because they seem to have a good relationship and a fine time leading up to, disasters. And then he said, and I honestly don't know what to do or how to think about you right now. And Shen just basically says, well, then don't take any action, just take your time, figure it out. What matters the most is that you're doing it because you want to. Your free will is what matters. And I'm like, is this Lucifer fucking Morningstar? Like, I'm Lucifer. Shen Wulong. No, Mr. Morningstar. Well, detective, ding dong. I swear, I'm listening to the devil here preaching all about free will. It's like, yeah, that sounds pretty tempting, man. So this is where Shen basically says, like, all right, so you've met Lu Han and blah, blah, blah. And as I've already talked about the Lu Han stuff. It's like, yeah, he doesn't have a shred of loyalty to me. All he wants are my memories and stuff. And he already surmised, like, oh, he was trying to recruit you guys to help kill me and stuff. He's like, yeah, he's a monster. He's the bad guy. He's no match for me, though. And he says, even if he somehow did get his hands on my memories, which I already talked about, in some way or another, he wouldn't be able to match me. So he's got no indication that, oh, he'd be close. It's like, it'd be tough, but I'm still stronger. No, he's basically like, he's basically doing, as I already said, what I said, which the memories are a factor, but they're not the reason. They're not the core reason. Lu Han is wrong. We took it as the gospel. I brought it up in that chapter, and I brought it up since. Lu Han is wrong. It's okay for a character to be wrong. He thinks the only difference between him and Shen is the memories. And Shen here, the guy with the memories, is fundamentally telling him a few chapters later, he's got a theory, it's wrong, but he's got a theory. And that was my stance this whole time. So I still, once again, pat on the back for me because I was right in that theory. It's like, no, experience and stuff isn't all it is. You have to reach a certain, it's almost like nirvana. You have to reach a certain level of enlightenment. Having all the memories downloaded into your brain like it's the Matrix doesn't make you a Buddha. You know what I mean? So it doesn't turn you into that. So and that's my argument for Kuroki. What Kuroki is trying to reach is he has all the experience in the world. He's got the time, he's got the experience, he's got the memories, he's got it all that. He's trying to reach the nirvana. He's trying to reach the pinnacle, the principles. And 500 years, 1,000 years, once again, my Alan Wu argument still stands. And all the guys who follow the Haisung thing is like, yeah, that brings you to a good point. But there's more to the story. Sort of like the 3-leg stool of fitness, right? Now, some people argue it's only working out in nutrition. I still argue the sleep factor. So I follow the 33%. If your nutrition's good, and your exercise is good, and your sleep patterns are good, boom, you're going to form a nice solid stool that anybody could sit on. If you lose one of those legs, or one of those legs is weak, what happens to the stool when you sit on it, right? So that's why I've always loved the stool analogy, is that if you eat McDonald's every day, drink a bunch of beer, and smoke like a chimney, you can pump as much iron as you want, you're still unhealthy. That stool still ain't fit. And if you oversleep like 12, 13 hours a day, or you undersleep for only like 3 to 4 hours a day and stuff like that, and survive off coffee, like if your nutrition is bad, if you're actually any one of the three, if it's not, because the other two, if one leg is off, then the other two have to make up for that difference, right? And the problem is that means you're either over-exercising past your limit, or you're going nutty on the Weight Watchers program, and then you're also pissed off, like, why am I not 100%? Why do I still feel tired? Why am I not gaining any more muscle? Why don't I still have an 8-pack yet? Why are these things not happening? It's because you've overcompensated in the other legs when it comes to being a whole and fitness, fully three-dimensional, because you've overcompensated on the ones that you know for your lack of making up for the other ones. So instead of getting them all in harmony, you know what I mean? So that's why I've always believed in the 3-leg stool. Sleep, nutrition, 33%. Not one, nutrition isn't 80 and exercise 20. That's such a fallacy. That's such a damn fallacy. It just is. The 80-20 has always been a fallacy. If you want to argue my 3-leg stool, you go right ahead. But I mean, everyone I met who's actually not only fit, not only looks good at the beach, but is actually healthy and happy, guess what the other two things that they have? Just saying. And they work out half the time of the guys I know at the gym. They work out like an hour workout every 4 days, and they're totally good. And they're way stronger, they're faster, they're fitter, It's just one of those things. So I'm 100, and I say all this to say that I think that Shen is following the same philosophy. It's like, yeah, there's experience and there's memories, but there's one more leg to this stool before it sits upright. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, let's go. So, then they ask about this, and they say about the memories and stuff like that. Is this like the millennia of martial arts and all that knowledge give you all the power? And he goes, well, yeah, but of course the knowledge alone is not enough. If you really want to beat me, I can tell you guys. And we're about to get the answer. And Oma and Ryuki are like, yeah, no. We want to beat you. We want to figure it out ourselves. We want to give you our own power. I'm like, damn it, but I still think I'm right. So either way, this is where Shen says that he's going to coach Koga like he was going to do. So they remembered that Koga's the main character after so long, finally. And it's like, all right, he's the main character again. But going off on this is like, okay, they immediately forget it, and it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. I'm sure some people are ticked, as I said, but it's actually really, really cool. So, what does this mean exactly is my actual first question. Is like, are you just testing Koga here, or are you actually going to train him? Like, you're going to be sticking around for a while and actually coach him? Or is this just a one-time thing here? I have no idea. Either way, what happens is that Shen basically says that Koga basically hits him with an iron breaker in the hand. So, hit me as hard as you can. And he uses iron breaker, and it basically does nothing. It goes poof, And it's just like, really? Wile E. Coyote cartoon, like, poof! It's like, what? Okay, so Koga once again looking like a complete and definitely not the main character. And then we have the real return of the main character. You can be as mad as you guys want back then. I don't give a shit. I already made a video about that and I said, listen, is it soap opera-y? Like telenovela? Yes. Is it stupid? Yes. Is it good writing? No. But am I so happy that my boy is back? Hell fucking yeah. How are, like take away, once again, I haven't seen a complaint from an actual Kengan fan when I ask them this question and I give them all those things and say, is it bad writing? Yes. Is it soap opera? Yes. Is it for the sake of drama? Yes. Does it make any sense? No. But are you happy to see Oma again? I haven't heard anybody actually say no to that answer. And if you have, then why are you unhappy that your character's back? You know? That tells me that they didn't like Oma back in the first manga. The only people who have said no are the people who are like, yeah, I don't like you can dislike things like, I don't like the Cure copy shit more than the next guy that he did. But anybody who doesn't like the fact that Oma's back didn't like Oma in the first place. Oma was such a great character in the first manga, and we teared up. We were all sad. What an ending. We were so sad. And people can argue, well, it took away my ending of that. And I'm like, yes, it did. Which is, once again, under the category of bad writing, and I agree. It's subverting expectations and it's bad writing to bring him back to life. But, once again, aren't you happy for Yamagohan? Aren't you happy for yourself that Oma's back, that Oma's alive? Like, I just don't get it. So, my point in saying all this, once again, is that Ironbreaker time, and once again, this is going to be a long-ass review, I'm sure, because I'm ranting all over the place, only because I had an extra day. See, this is the problem when Komaki fucks up, is because I've had time to think about this chapter, so I got a shit ton of rants and tangents to go on. So Koga does a bit, it's sort of a UGU test sort of thing. No, I'm not going to bring that. And pretty much, he's like, poof, Wile E. Coyote about it. And then Oma's like, alright, can I give this a try? You know, I'd like to try this Shen Wulong. Why don't you let me join in? And it's like, alright. He's like, are you sure? Alright. And he said, and then they talk about Nico a little bit, and he says, wow, he sounds like a pretty good guy. And he goes, yeah, he really was. He said, now I'm also going to hit you with Ironbreaker. And you're be ready to block it. And Oma charges up. And boom. Shen looks initially shocked, by the way. I'm just saying. He says, oh, excellent. Like, he immediately goes, yeah. Alright, see, almost got... And they even acknowledge, like, Koga's like, it's the same move. It's the same style. But holy shit was that night and day. And I'm like, yeah, this is Oma, the real main character. Stop pretending that Koga's the main character. The moment Oma came back, it wasn't the Koga show anymore. I'm sorry. And he just Ironbreakers. It's a great panel. Boom. And unlike Koga's that went boom and stopped, this is the difference. It went, this was Koga's, and this was Oma's. And even Shen stood there like, alright, nice. You know? So then he goes, yeah, that was good. That was impressive. But you can do better. And then so he tells him to shift, and that's where that whole panel comparison comes from. It's like, don't straighten your back too much. Let it arch. Raise this by a millimeter. Step this foot forward a little bit and do all this stuff. And he's like, all right. And he goes, now, just try hitting the air. Boom! And it's like, shockwave, shatters glass windows and shit. And it's like, what the hell? And even Oma admits, that's the greatest Ironbreaker, bar none, I've ever thrown in my life. And it was just like, holy shit. It's a world apart. And it's like, god damn it. And the thing ends on the chapter ends on the panel where Shen's like, yeah, Oma, good job. You've got promise, man. He said, but you still need to get a lot stronger if you want to beat me. So this isn't the end. Just editing his form slightly, which once again, I'm sure so many people are going to call this out, and it's like, no. First off, we already saw this in Ashura, and that's why I'm so glad I actually waited for this. Is one, I get to rant to you guys a lot longer and go on tangents. But two, is the idea that, okay, but perfect form does matter. I know it looks a little silly with only a few millimeters and a little bit of difference, but yeah, but that's the difference between breaking your back when you do a deadlift. By the way, deadlifts are dangerous. Never do a deadlift. I still hate that my wife does them. And the idea of, hurting your back and doing it successfully, right? Perfect form matters. And what Shen is saying is that his form was, close, but not perfect. Right? And he adjusted it, and he even said, he goes, damn, that's really good. Koga's is obviously way off, because Koga's didn't even move Shen's hand. It made a cartoon poof. Oma's initial one, because he's far more experienced, once again, there's that experience brought up again, was able to shoot his hand back. But even Shen admitted, he goes, yeah, that was pretty good. But I know that you don't need any training to do better. You just need to adjust slightly. Your form is this close. And he had already done it before. And we saw that in Ashura from no muscle memory and stuff. It's this wasn't a true memory. Oma didn't know where it came from. It was like his, it was a muscle memory. His DNA itself knew about it and stuff. Once again, being part of the clone. So there is that it factor. What's that third leg of the stool? Is it principles? What is it? But clearly it's going there. But this isn't the be all and end all. Perfect form. That slight adjustment is great. Makes him far more powerful. But it's not enough to match Shen yet, to his own admission, to his own word. So I'm like, this is good. This is actually really good because it still requires the third leg stool. And once again, perfect form matters. It matters in push-ups, it matters in sit-ups, it matters in running. It matters so that over time, your bones don't ache, so your joints aren't bad, so you don't have bad feet. You ever seen people that have the whole, I'm a construction worker, ever heard about the bad back and the bad knees? Yeah, it's a real thing. My knees and back are already bad from working in the trade for almost 2 decades. So the fact of the matter is that had I had better form to begin with, I'd probably be a lot healthier now than I was back then. Right? So perfect form matters in the real world. Not close, but perfect. And that's all Shen taught him. And the results spoke for themselves. Granted, it's a little bit of a stretch, but this is also a manga about dudes who can literally dodge bullets and survive having their heads slammed into concrete and dragged along and shit. Like, come on, people. This is a manga about redirection kata, for God's sakes. Let's have a little bit of leniency for manga logic. A little bit here. A little bit of a stretch. It's based in truth and stretched to the nines, like most logic in manga, right? So either way, I really like the chapter, and I'm glad we waited. I'm glad I got to wait here. So, but that's it from me. I think I went on enough tangents. That's got to be half an hour worth of tangents. I think I did a good job. But I like this chapter. I really like this chapter, and I'm glad, as I said, because I got that comparison. I wouldn't have made the connection that this has already been foreshadowed or already making a connection back to the time when Oma already did this, adjusted his form subconsciously, and it was far superior, far better. Shen's just reminding him of that, unlocking it almost, taking the shackles off his subconscious, if you will. So, but once again, what's the third leg of the Shen? What's the third leg to Jackie's power? Because we've already made the argument that memories and experience aren't everything. By Shen's own admission in this chapter, they're good. They're a big part of it. One of the main parts. But it's not everything. Because if it was, Luhan getting all the memories would be the answer. And Shen would be scared. But he said, no, that he won't be a match for me with those memories or not. So, what's your theory next? Once again, so the memories and the experience aren't principles. Or what we're calling the X factor, the principles. What is that third secret? What's the other secret to the last bit of Shen's power to make a match for Shen? I leave that question with you guys. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, I love the chapter. Thought it was great. I'm sure some people don't like the chapter, but easy 9 out of 10 for me. There was nothing wrong. Shen was great. Great character. 3-dimensional. Oma being the main character, just showing off, strutting his stuff. It was fantastic. Fantastic to me. But let me know what you guys thought. Either way, down in the comments. We'll see you back next time. Have a good one, everyone. Sayonara.